Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another fasting check-in. We are 33 hours into this week's fast. I can't tell you how excited I am that you are here joining me. Let me tell you a quick story. I took care of a patient who was having difficulty controlling blood sugars. We had struggled for some time and just could never get his numbers where he wanted them and where we wanted them. And he came in to see me excited. This was after we had been at this a while. Came in to see me excited. Hey, doc, I got to control my blood sugars. I got to get this working. I got to get this fixed. And I'm looking at this person. I'm wondering, okay, what happened? Who is this person? Blood sugars had gotten better, and he was looking for a way to maintain what he was doing. So, we talked for a while, came up with a plan, and continued working. But I said to him, I said, hey, what's going on? What made the difference? He said to me, I went home, and my wife said that she's pregnant. We're having a baby. And I got so excited. I realized for the first time that there was so much that I had to live for. There was so much that I was looking forward to. There was so much that I needed to be here for. And so I've got to make sure I'm controlling my blood sugars. I've got to make sure I'm healthy. I've got to make sure that I have done what I need to do to be here. And that's the reason why we do what we do. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason for the community. That's the reason for the channel. That's the reason for all the things that we're doing, so that we can be around for the things that are most valuable in our lives. Because after all, that's what limitless living says. That we're not letting anything from outside or anything from inside prevent us from doing what we need to do. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Take charge of your life. Realign and do what you need to do so you can be around for those things that are so special, for those moments that we need to connect with the people around us and the people that we love. Go ahead and put new in the comments if you are new to me, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited that you are in this space. Go ahead and put a Q in front of a question that you may have that we will get to as we get through the rest of the show tonight. And wherever you're joining me from, whatever platform, whatever country, whatever state, whatever community, I'm so excited that you're here. Go ahead and drop that in the comments, because I want to give you a shout out as well to let you know that we're excited that you're here. And to our community members, to our accelerator members, I'm so glad that you've joined us. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. We've got a lot of good things that we're going to do here tonight. I've got my monitors that we'll take a look at off to my side. And let's go ahead and hop over there. So I've got my monitors that we'll take a look at right here. And I've got my Dexcom Clarity Report, which is right down below, which we will look at here in just a little while. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's why don't we do that right now? I'm going to go ahead and pull over. Well, let's do this. I want to encourage you, if you've not done so already, you want to get to our channel. And we have streamlined the channel so that now when you get there, there are some simple things that you can do to get started. There is the Start Here playlist. And the Start Here playlist is designed to walk you through the pathway that we are on, right? So we've got the 7-pillar Limitless Living Health Action Plan that is outlined in various places there, but the pathway, right? If you want to jump in, get started, say, how do I begin improving myself so I can be around for the things that are important for me? that's where you start, right there in the Start Here playlist. And then if you're interested in knowing what's going on this week, what are we talking about? What's on his mind? What's in the community? What did he eat for the last meal before he started the fast? What's he going to eat for the last meal at the end of the fast? All of those things you want to get in there, and you want to take a look at our this week's videos, because all of those are outlined right there so that you can get a chance to see those. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and pull up my reports. Look at my monitors, and let me just do something here really quickly. Get rid of some of these screen apps that are opened, and we'll take a look at that. So I've got my blood sugars, I've got my Dexcom Clarity, I've got my Libre that we'll take a look at, and then of course we'll look at ketones. So if you think you know what my ketones are going to be, go ahead and drop those in the comments. You can go ahead and begin putting your guesses in the chat so that we can look at that. So here is my Dexcom Clarity report. Let's start with that one right now. Here it is. Well, not my Clarity, but my Dexcom G7, so you can see what my blood sugars are. Here we are. So right now, it says that my blood sugar is 69. Right, so 69, and remember that we've now been fasting for 33 hours. If you joined us this morning or earlier today, we did our check-in at 24 hours, and here we are at 33 hours with a blood sugar of 69 right there. And if you look down below, right about here, you see the graph for what's been going on with my blood sugars over the last 24 hours. And I can go ahead and put my finger there and just kind of scroll through, right? So you can see what those numbers are. 80s, 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 as we got through, drop down right there around a little close to 70, but basically 80s and 90s throughout the day. And then as we got into the late afternoon, right there about 4, we started dropping down into the 70s, and then right at about 5:30, dropped down below 70, and that's why you see that red bar that's there. Dropped down below 70, and so we've stayed in the 60s, popping up into the 70s just a little while, but mostly staying down into the 60s. And then if I go ahead and look at the summary report, and let's start with 3 days. Okay, so 3 days, my average is 98, and you see I'm in target 98% of the time. 7 days, which is the last week, 110 average, and now you see that it gives you that 5.9 that's right there. That's the glucose management indicator. So that's a surrogate, if you will, for what my A1C would be if I were to get blood sugars based on, or A1C based on these blood sugars. Looking at my 14-day average, 110 with glucose management indicator of 6.0, and then of course 30 days, 116, 6.1 for glucose management indicator. And then the one that everybody wants to know is the 90-day, because that's the one that really is a representation of what the A1C would be. And average blood sugar there is 116 with glucose management indicator being a 6.1. Okay? And then let's go ahead and pull over and let's look at what the Libre is saying. So the Libre now is saying that my blood sugar is 57 right now. Notice that the, let's go back there really quickly. And so the Dexcom was saying 69, right? That's that number. And Libre 57. So they are a little bit off from each other, within 10 points. Within 10 points of each other. It's 57, 69, so 12 points. And then if I look at the graph, which is right about here, you'll see according to the Libre, earlier in the day, I was right above 70, right? 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. And then early in the day, the Libre had me dropping below 70 and then remaining there for the rest of the day, right? So this is the last 12 hours. And so notice that we're in the 50s, 60s, 50s, and 60s for most of that time. Looking at the Insight reports, I could look at my time and range, right? So we're looking at 7 days, and just like we did before, and I'm going to just jump right to the 90-day average. And you'll see there that I'm in target 85% of the time, and then down below 15% are lows. Those are lows that happen when I'm fasting, okay? So 85% in target, and then during the fast, I'm down into below 70, and that's the 15% that you see there. If I look at my average glucose, okay, so average right there, 7-day average, 14-day average, 30-day average, and then of course 90-day average is 88. And then it breaks it down right here in this area based on the times of day. And I like that because it allows me to pinpoint different times of day where I may be having some challenges. And right now, my average 88, as you saw up there, and if you look at the different times of the day, we go anywhere from 85 to 95, and I love those numbers because they are an indication of what's going on in my body. Now, let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at what's going on with my Dexcom, or my Contour, and my Keto Mojo. And let's go ahead and get back to this screen. So let's do this. So I'm going to grab out of my container here a blue strip for ketones, brown strip for blood sugar. That's for the Keto Mojo. I've got Contour strips here, and then I'm going to grab a couple of Lancets. And then I'm just going to put this over to the side. Okay. And I'm going to put those Lancets off the side here, and let's go ahead and open up, get a strip for the Contour. Get that in that device, and then get a strip for the Keto Mojo. And this is the glucose strip that I'm doing, the one that's brown. And then I'm going to go ahead and open the ketone strip as well, because it usually gives me a little bit of challenge. And there you go. That actually came out pretty good. But I'm going to have it off to the side so I can have it ready when I need it to put it into the machine. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on blood sugar-wise. So I use a Lancet. I don't usually use a Lansing device. I just open that up, find a finger, and right in here, ow, that hurts. And let's see. Okay, that was a pretty brisk drop that we have. So let's get ahead and get that started. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? So we're now 33 hours, a little over 33 hours actually, into this week's fast. I'm going to keep a drop going. And so 66 is what the Contour says. 70 is what the Keto Mojo says. And then if I go back here, right there is what you see from my Freestyle Libre. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this one out, and we'll get a strip in for the ketones and get that started before our drop dries. And then we would have to poke myself again. All right, so get this one off the screen. So once again, what do you think it's going to be? What do you think my ketones are going to be? So 33 hours into this week's fast, and 0.8. All right. So 0.8, and let's go ahead and pull over. This is my Keto Mojo app, and let's go ahead and get that synced. And come on. There we go. Okay, syncing. This is syncing. Okay. And we're looking at, let's change our view. So we're looking at these three numbers right here. So the big number that's in the circle, and then the blood sugars that are below, there is 70 for my glucose, and then my ketones are 0.8. And so the big number, the GKI, is a ratio of the glucose to ketone. So glucose to ketone index is what that is, the GKI. And it is a calculated number. So for that, let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up my calculator. Let's see, let's get that here. All right, and so the calculator, so my blood sugar was 70, and then I have to convert that to international units. So you do that by dividing by 18. Divide by 18, that gives me this number, and then I divide this by ketones, which were 0.8. And so that gives me that 4.8 that you see right here. Okay. Now, if you don't have a meter that does that, if you're using ketone strips, you can go online and you can find a calculator, just plug the numbers in, and it will give you that. Now, ketone strips, you actually won't get a number. You'll just get a range. So you may not be able to do it with that. But if you have a monitor that gives you ketones but doesn't calculate the GKI, you can just go online, plug those numbers in, and then you'll get a what that number is. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and hop over to my Dexcom Clarity Report, and we'll take a look at this. And this is similar to what you saw before, but it gives you all the days since we started fasting. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So what I want to do is starting where we are right now and going backwards. Actually, let's do this. Let's do it the other way. Let's start with the fasting. And so we started fasting right in here with blood sugars right at 80s and 90s. So right in here is where we did. If you want to know what I ate going into the fast, go back and watch that on the episode that we did, the pop-up. And so starting there and going forward, you see we stayed in the 80s and 90s for most of that afternoon, 80s and 90s, 80s and 90s, into the night, and this is midnight, and so that's now, let's see, from 12 to 12, 12 hours. So this is now at 10 hours from the time we started fasting, right, at 82. And then coming into the morning, we stayed in the 80s, 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 dipped down a little bit here into the 60s, and then continued into the 80s up to 99 there, and that's right at about 6-ish, 6:30, 6:40. That's my toothpaste effect that I talk about. And then staying in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then continuing to drop, as we saw from the monitor itself, down into the 70s, and then below 70 as we got into the late evening to where we are right now, into the 60s. Okay? Awesome. I love that. Love that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. I see you guys out there. If you have questions, make sure you go ahead and drop those in the comments. Make sure you put a Q in front of it so that we know that that's one that we need to get to. We'll get to the comments, but just wanted to make sure that we are getting to the ones that you have. All right, so let's go ahead and we see Gian out there. Hey, Gian, how are you? Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. She says, hi, doctor. Hi, LLG. And she's guessing 0.8. I think you're guessing 0.8, Gian, or did you, or was that just you echoing what we got? Kenti says hello, and she says, I'll guess ketones are 0.3. Okay, so Kenti says 0.3, and we were 0.8, all right? Gian says, hi, Kenti. Gian says, I'm 48 hours into the fast. I will break my fast when 48 hours. I usually try one meal a day and make my Wednesday no food, so fasting all day. What is your plan or structure? Gian says, I attempt to 72 hours, but I wanted to eat, so she hadn't quite made it 72 hours yet. Remember, this is a work in progress, okay? Work in progress. Kenti says, I'm 8 hours in currently. I do 2 meals a day, 4-hour eating window, fasting 20 hours every day. I'm poor at planning and structure. And then Gian had a question, just basically saying, how am I feeling? I'm doing well. Doing well today. Thank you for asking, Gian. She said, Gian said, try for 72 hours next week. Okay, good. And hope, let's see. So seek progress, not perfection. Very good. But extra mental challenges like compulsion behavior requires an expert. Let's see. I should have said try for 60 hours. Okay. All right. So lots of this. And so Gian had a question there. So Gian, I'm gonna grab that and keep it. We'll come back to that. Congratulations from Kenti on the 45 hours. Very good, very good, very good. Okay, so very good. So lots of good comments there from our community, and just excited for all the successes that we're having. Remember what we're doing? We are righting our metabolism. We're improving our health and making sure that we're around for all the things that are so important for us as we move in this metabolic space. So let's go ahead and let's hop into our discussion for tonight. Very, very exciting things that we're going to talk about. So let's go ahead and let's get over there right now. So at 33 hours into the fast, something amazing is happening in our bodies. The body isn't just burning fuel anymore, it's beginning to tune itself. So systems that used to compete are now cooperating, right? Everything is with the intention of keeping the system regulated. Energy isn't crashing, it's actually flowing. Focus isn't forced anymore, it's forming. This moment is when metabolic alignment begins. So it's 33 hours in, when everything inside of you starts working together instead of working against you. Right? So what we're talking about, we're exploring what happens when your body finds its rhythm and how you can design a life that moves with the same precision. Because what we want to do is we want to remember what we're talking about. We're talking about blueprints. That's our series that we're doing. So we're talking about how do we maintain the benefits that we've had. And for those of us who are on the path, how do we begin now putting a structure in place that takes us to that space? Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to hold on, because by the end of this, you'll understand not only what's happening in your body right now, but how to keep the alignment alive long after the fast ends. Because after all, we want to not just do something for today or for tomorrow. We want to put a system in place that keeps us going over the long haul. Okay? So we're talking about metabolic alignment. When the body finds its rhythm, right? That's what we're talking about. And so the first thing is let's talk a little bit about the metabolic switch, right? The metabolic switch. What's going on in the body at this time? And it is that, as you know, around 30 to 36 hours, the body has now used up most of the glycogen in the system. Because when you eat, the body takes the food and it stores it. Well, it uses some for energy at the time. Then it stores some in the liver, and then the excess, it takes it and it transports it over into fat cells. So at this point, what's going on is that our body has used up the glycogen that's there, and it is now in the process of taking energy back out from the fat cells to use it. And the beauty of this is when we begin to see things like weight loss. We begin to get clarity of thought. We begin to see that constant, efficient energy source. Because remember, blood sugars are fluctuating, and people can have those dips. But when we are in this space, what we're doing is we're now transitioning to that pure source of energy that's constant, that's there. Now, most of us, if we think about our bodies, most of us have enough stored energy so that we don't have to worry about those fluctuations. I envision this, so I'm a big sci-fi person. And so I like superheroes. And one of the superheroes that I imagine this process happening in is Iron Man. Remember Tony Stark? So he has that arc reactor, the old one that he discovered palladium, and so now he takes the old one out and he puts the new one in, and when he screws it in, he gets it right. That energy that comes, that's what's going on. So your body now has stopped using that volatile, fluctuating blood sugar, and it has now tapped into what's going on with the energy source that is now consistent, because most of us have enough energy stored up that we can give a constant source of fuel for a long time. So the metabolic switch point. And talking about that, let's talk a little bit about, well, let's go back to this for a minute. Let me talk a little bit about the science of this. So insulin levels have fallen and they're stabilized. Glucagon begins to rise, and this quietly is saying to the rest of the body, hey, now we need to begin unlocking the fat stores. Growth hormone is increasing. This is helping to preserve muscles and to begin mobilizing fat as well. Your body's switching from running on what you ate yesterday to running on what you have stored. This is an important point. The food from yesterday has not gone yet. Most people say, well, if I didn't eat for 12 hours, how could I still have high blood sugars? Why am I still not losing weight? It's because the food that you ate yesterday is still in your system. The body's still using it. It hasn't even gotten to the point where it's going to the fat cells to burn those yet. And it's not until it uses up what's in the liver, then it gets to go to the fat cells and begins using those. This is called that metabolic switch. And it's the key to flexibility. When our body is able to change from using one source of energy to another, you're no longer dependent on the constant glucose input eating. Now you become a hybrid engine, if you will. Think about those hybrid cars, right? When the gas goes out, we don't worry because it switches over to another source of energy. Now, something else is going on. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, once it's spiking in the morning, right, it begins to level off. It used to spike, but now that we're fasting, right, and we have a source of energy, the body doesn't have to send cortisol out as much to go find energy because we have a source of energy that's coming at us. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises, right? It signals, feed me when I'm not fasting. And then it naturally begins to drop. As I'm fasting, it becomes regulated because it no longer needs to go tell me to eat to get fuel. Leptin, which is the satiety hormone, right? The sensitivity improves and it tells the brain we have enough. I want you to notice what's happening. All the hormones, insulin and glucagon, they're coordinating with each other now. Cortisol says, I'm usually the guy that goes out and finds energy. But look at this. I've got a constant source of energy coming now, so I don't have to go find energy to raise the blood sugar because the ketones are coming and they're providing the energy that I need. My ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, is saying, I don't have to go get them to eat. And leptin says I'm full. So all of those are coordinating now. Every one of these changes is a conversation that's going on in your body. Your endocrine system, endocrinologist, right? Your endocrine system is literally coordinating as a team. They're having a team meeting and talking to each other. This is all happening because we have given the body a time of peace and relaxation. We are resting it so that the hormones And the system has the ability now to coordinate without having to worry that you're putting more stuff in. And that is alignment. What you're feeling right now isn't depletion, it is actually celebration. When energy stabilizes and cravings fade, that's not a willpower issue. This is physiology finding harmony. So when you get to this space, it's not that you've white knuckled it your way through. Your body is helping you now. And I want you to pause for a minute. Right? If you're fasting with us, pause for a moment and sense it. This is all, the body is designed to work together. It's designed to fix itself. Your mind feels clearer. You breathe slower. Your focus is sharper. That's the language of alignment. That's what's going on as we are in this space. The hormones are themselves doing what they need to do to be synchronous and to talk to each other. There's hormonal harmony. And this occurs when we are fasting. When we're fasting. Let's talk a little bit about the inner design loop, IDL. Remember, the inner design loop is that mechanism that we talked about that is designed to help us put something in place, put a structure in place, evaluate the structure, see if it's working, get it aligned with what we say we want to do, and make changes so that we can be successful. Inside every biological process, there's feedback. Your pancreas listens to your blood sugar. When the pancreas sees blood sugar, it releases insulin. Your brain listens to the hormones. You have a pituitary. And as your body is going through different changes, hormones are circulating through your blood, and they're sending a signal back to the pituitary, and that's helping to regulate how the pituitary responds to the rest of what's going on in your body. Your cells are listening to each other. They're saying, I need more oxygen, and that signal goes, and the body, you breathe fast, you breathe deeper, the heart rate goes up faster to get more oxygen to the cell that says it needs it. There's a communication that's going on. That's all coordination. That's not by chance. And that same intelligence exists in your daily life if you design for it. Notice I didn't say can exist. It is there. We just have the designs for it. And the design is what we call the inner design loop. And I want you to think of this, if you think back to our rhythm, alignment, and structure, it's another way of looking at that same idea. And as we go through the next couple of thoughts, I want you to kind of envision the rhythm, alignment, and structure. It is, what is the purpose? What is my function? Why am I doing what I do? As I talk, I am doing what I need to do for my health because I've got some reasons. It's called my son and my wife. I want to be around. I want to be healthy. I want to be there for them. The alignment, are the things I do, the behaviors I have, the decisions I make, are they consistent with taking me in that direction? And do I have structure in place that takes the motivation out of the equation? Because if I'm relying on motivation, there are times I'm not going to do it because I may not be motivated. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. Whatever it is, motivation goes out the window. So let's talk through the loop. And you may have heard me say we anchor, we align, and we adjust. Okay? Let's dive a little deeper into those. Number one is awareness. So as we're fasting, notice what's happening. in our bodies. Awareness. How do I feel when I do my check-in, when I'm doing my fasting? We talk about how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. Notice what's happening in your body. Your body senses energy levels. It senses hunger. It senses stress. Are you in tune with what's going on inside of you? You sense mood, thoughts, environment, and awareness helps you to make sure that you're doing and making decisions not based on a whim or based on how you feel, but based on your understanding that what's going on in your body. Because if you understand that there's a switch going on, hey, I'm going from burning sugar to burning carbs, when you feel that dip, which you may feel, you understand, okay, this doesn't mean there's something wrong. It simply means that my body is telling me that it is now switching over, which is a good thing. And I'm excited about that now. So awareness, which means that you have to understand how the body works. Intention. Your body sets a goal. The goal is preserve energy, maintain balance. Homeostasis is the word that we use for balance. Your body's job is to keep you alive. And everything that it does, and I want you to listen, everything your body does is with the intention of keeping you alive. And you're like, well, maybe not because my body's doing some weird things. Well, the things that your body's doing is compensating for something that is awry and the body's trying to fix it. When your blood pressure goes up, your body has made a decision that something is causing a problem, and so I need more pressure. The body's responding to too much insulin, which causes the vessels to be stiff. That is a response that the body's making to something. It didn't just do it on its own. When you have an infection, and the body decides, hey, I would much rather have that limb damaged than for the rest of my body to get into trouble. That is the body protecting the system. It didn't just do that randomly. So the body has an intention. It's preserving homeostasis. It's preserving balance. In order for it to do all that stuff, it needs energy, which is why blood sugars go up. No, everything has a reason. Everything has a purpose. You can set your intention as well. I'm fasting for clarity. I'm fasting for healing. I've shared with you that I have some metabolic dysfunction that I'm personally trying to correct. So I fast in a way that helps to improve that. So what is your intention? Are you fasting for focus, for weight loss, for blood pressure control, for blood sugar control? The intention comes and connects with what's happening in you and what you say you want. That's where the intention comes from. So I want this, and so I am doing what I need to do. I'm intending, I'm acting to do what I need to do. So we are aware, we have an intention, then we have an action. Your body adjusts hormones. That's how it behaves. That's what it does. You adjust behavior. You walk, you hydrate, you breathe, you stretch, you strength train. Every aligned action reinforces the design. Every time you do something that is in congruence with what you say you want, then you're reinforcing the design. And then we reflect. The body measures results. The body has a mechanism. It's measuring blood sugar, it's measuring ketones, it's measuring your heart rate, it's measuring your temperature, it's measuring your weight. All of those things are pieces of data that the body uses to do what it needs to do to correct. You measure feelings. You're calm, you're alert, energy, reflection. All of that is data that you're getting so that you can make a judgment. It's feedback. So we're aware of what's going on in our body. We set an intention. We take an action. We reflect on what's happening, right? And we're coming somewhere from here in a minute. And then we realign. Based on the feedback, based on the system that you have in place, we begin doing tweaks. And here it is. You might shorten your fasting window. You might say, I need to rest earlier. I need to rest more. I need to add some electrolytes. The body recalibrates when things don't go its way. The body shifts and makes adjustments so that it can get back into homeostasis, so that it can become aligned. So you can recalibrate. So that's why you are always checking and always processing and always looking at all the things that you need to do so that you can make an adjustment. This is alignment in motion. Biology and behavior dancing to the same rhythm. So something's going on in my body. Now I am having my behavior align with what that is. Your body runs on feedback loops. So something happens, a signal goes back to the body, goes a part of the body, and then that makes an adjustment. Same thing here, the inner design loop. You have a behavior, you have an action that you've taken, you look to see what the results are, and then you come back and you say, okay, I need to adjust that. When you honor that rhythm, when you do it consciously, you move from effort to flow. You move from having to push yourself to do this. You move from having to will yourself to do this. You move from that, you move to flow. And that's the benefit. That's the power of the inner design loop. So let's talk a little bit about energy. Energy. So when we align, we feel it in our body. When the systems are cooperating, energy becomes efficient. I want you to pause and I want you to think about that. Let's break that down for a second. When you're aligned, there's less friction between your behavior and your desire. When you're aligned, there's no cognitive dissonance. When you're aligned, decision fatigue goes down. So your energy level is increased. You're conserving energy. In a misaligned state, energy leaks everywhere. Blood sugars are spiking, focus is drifting, emotions are swinging, because everything is not working together. But in alignment, energy stabilizes. Ketones feed your brain steadily. Dopamine smooths out. Cortisol quiets because there's alignment. You start to think clearer. You start to respond to life rather than reacting to life. You make better decisions about lots of things, but in particular, you make better decisions about food. Yeah. And that's not magic. That's efficiency. That's efficiency. That is what's going on in the body. And when there is alignment, rhythm, alignment, structure, anchor, alignment, and adaptation, all of those same ideas. When we are aware of what's going on in our body and aware of what our intention is, where we're heading, that gives us alignment. And that takes the decision away from how I'm feeling at this moment. So we anchor, we align, we adapt. And so what I want you to think about I want you to ask yourself something. Where did energy feel smooth today? Yeah? Where did it feel smooth today? And where did it feel forced? Where did it feel smooth? And where did it feel forced? One of the things I had our community do, I asked them in one of our community meetups, is to find the place where you feel aligned. What's aligned for you this week? And then the question is, how do I take that, encapsulate it, and move it to another area of my life? That question, where did things feel smooth? That's data. Answer it. And you'll know exactly where alignment is. And then we use that and we adjust and we do something else. Right? We add it to another place. So let's zoom out a little bit. And you've heard me talk about these three, right? So anchor, align, adapt. And just a minute ago, we went through this idea of being aware, of setting your intention, right? And walking through that inner design loop. So let's talk about the bigger picture. And that bigger picture comes in those words: anchor, align, and adapt. Let's walk through that. If the steps that we just talked about, right? If that's the engine, then the loop, this bigger loop, anchor, align, adapt, is your vehicle. It's the architecture that keeps your rhythm sustainable. Anchor is a stability through identity. Your fasting window, your morning gratitude, your evening reflection. These are your gravitational points. These are the things that define who you are, the reason you're doing things. This is what says, I want to be around for my son. I want to be around for my wife. I want to be around for my grandchildren. I want to be around for my daughter, I want to be around for the family. I want to be around for the things that we've been saving for, things we've been investing for. I want to be around. An anchor. An anchor is designed to prevent drift. When the ship is moving and they want to stop, they drop an anchor, say, at this point, we're not moving from here. Everything else around me might change, might move, but I'm not moving because my anchor is strong. It's holding me tight. So anchor. Alignment is symphony through design. You set up your environment so it supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Your shoes by the door. Your meal plan is visible. Your bedtime is protected. Align. The decisions, the behaviors that I have, are they consistent with my anchor? Am I doing everything to keep my anchor strong, to keep my anchor keep me heading in the direction that I say I want to go? Am I aligned? Have I learned about myself enough so that I understand what my triggers are? And have I taken the steps necessary to mitigate those so they don't cause me the problems that they did in the past? Because in the past, I didn't understand them. And when I got triggered, I ate. I came off of my fast. I stayed up at night. I didn't get rest. I didn't connect with people. I became isolated. because of the triggers. I now understand that, and I have done things. I'm aligned now with where I want to go. So I've put some things, I've dealt with some things from outside, some things from inside. My behavior, my decisions, my choices are now aligned with where I say I'm going. And then we adapt. Adaptation is growth through feedback. You learn, adjust, refine without guilt. This is not about beating you up. This is not about slapping you on the hand. This is, okay, there's data that says that this is working and this is not going quite so well. So how do I get the things that are working and find out how that's happening and take that structure and put it in place for the rest of the things I need to do, for the rest of my life? So here's one. Many of us are successful in our businesses, on our job. We pride ourselves that our employer can count on us. Many of us have started businesses. Many of us are doing great jobs in our professional life. But here is the rub. We do not apply the same skills as we use out there to ourselves. We give the best of us to other people. We give the best of us to the job. We give the best of us to people outside of us. Just today, I sent a message to some friends, and I said to them, remember to enjoy the things that are most important. Are you adjusting? Are you refining? Are you looking at what's working and saying, okay, I need to adjust here. I need to change that. I need to put this in. Do you have the structure in you? Do you have the structure around you? And are you looking at it and are you making changes? This is precision through repetition. This is not about judging. This is not about guilting. This is without drama. Each rotation through that loop, anchor, align, adapt, anchor, align, adapt, anchor, align. Every time you go through that loop, every time you adjust, you're getting stronger. The structure is getting faster. The structure is getting smarter. The structure is getting more resilient. Every time you fast and you get through the fast successfully, you're saying to your metabolism, this is who we are. This is how we work. This is what we need to do. You become better able to make decisions. You become quite literally a living design of metabolic success. Come on, come on. Did you ever think that would be you? After all the struggles that you've had, after all of the times that you've gone through the different diets and the different classes and learning about this and trying this and having this and seeing, did you ever think that you would become a living design of what it looks like to be metabolically successful? That's what alignment looks like. In motion. Systems that cooperate instead of competing. Because our goal is to be around for the things that matter. Think about it. Your body, your mind, and purpose are not separate projects. They're one integrated ecosystem. When the body finds rhythm, the mind gains clarity. When the mind gains clarity, choices align. When choices align, health flows naturally. That's the blueprint of limitless living. We don't chase control. We cultivate cooperation. We don't force outcomes, we design conditions. And we don't depend on motivation. we depend and we support rhythm. So as you move through this 33-hour mark towards our next mark, remember, your body isn't testing you. It's teaching you. Listen to it, learn from it, and let it lead you back into alignment. And here's your takeaway. Alignment isn't about control, it's about cooperation. When your biology and your behavior agree, energy flows and life flows as well. Stay aligned, stay consistent, keep living limitlessly. And we will continue walking this path together to success as we move into a space where we get to enjoy the things that really matter to us, our family, our friends, being able to travel, being able to be around for the things that are important. That's the goal. And if you can do that, then you have lived a limitless life and you are successful. All right, all right. So as I normally say, I know you guys are going to say, "Come on, Dr. Woode, you say this for everything we talk about." This is one of my favorite ones, y'all. And it's one of my favorite ones because for so long, I have personally and with my patients and my clients been in the space where we were trying things and things weren't working. We were pushing, we were dragging, we were doing heavy lifting without any benefit. And even when we got benefit, then we fell back and we threw our hands up. And this idea of alignment is an integral part of the blueprints that we've been talking about. What are the structures? What are the things that we do? What are the behaviors, the thought processes that we put in place to make us and help us remain successful when it comes to our health? You heard me say that we apply structure to every other area except when it comes to our health. There are people who, they are efficiency experts at their job. They're the ones who does all the planning. They're the ones who are running the budget, and they're managing people. And we apply our skills everywhere else except when it comes to our health. And I'm throwing my hands up. Oh yeah, right in there, right in the ring. And what I love about this is that it allows us to walk through a process that you can trust, a process you can follow so that you don't need superhuman strength. You don't need this inner willpower that everybody talks about. It is structured, it takes motivation away, and it helps you to move to your desired rhythm, the thing that's purposed in your life, so that you can be successful and you can have joy. All right, so I see some of our community members out there, so let me go ahead and let's hop back over and say hello. Let's see, where did I stop? Let's grab this one. So who's talking about Korean fried chicken out there? I see. Is that Kenti you're talking about? Okay, let's see. Let's go back up. And so Kenti, how are you? So let's go here. So Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer? Jennifer said I ate a tin of sardines in olive oil to break my fast, then made supper of green beans, chicken, and pickles all canned from the garden. Jennifer, you make us hungry. I love that. I love that. Oh, let's go back up because I think I jumped down too far. Oh, well, let's go back up here. Okay, here we go. Howdy all. So this is Jennifer coming in saying howdy all. Gion says hi, Jennifer. Jennifer says hi, Gion, Kenty, and Doc. What's going on? Fine evening from Jennifer. Kenty says fine evening from Jennifer. So Kenty's responding. Gion is smiling. And okay, here it is. This is what I picked up in the middle of this conversation. Jennifer said, I broke my fast at 48 hours, felt good. And then Gian says, wow, great job, Jennifer. Are you seeing expert in necessity eating? So Kenty is asking a question of Gian. Let's see. Jumping down here. Kenty says you can get Kenty, you can get this absolutely. Oh, let me go back. Yes, I've lived with them almost 20 years. So it's a strong habit. So talking about habits, and one of the questions, and let me go back and see if I can grab that question. Okay, so let's do this one. She said, Doc, why do I have sugar cravings after breaking my fast with big meal? I'm so full after big meal, but I feel that I want to eat like sugar cravings. Most of the time, I just eat sugar dessert until I'm full. Right, and so that's a very good question. And so, and let me couch this in a bigger conversation, right, as we get into the specifics of what you're asking. So as understanding how our body works is very important. And one of the things that we've talked about in the past is this idea of the HEAT model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. Okay, if you guys recall. So going back to the HEAT model says that there are things that are going to push our buttons. There are things that are going to tug at us that have nothing to do with our decision at this moment to do or not do something. And that is a hormonal, neuronal, that's a process. There are hormones that are so strong that it is almost impossible to resist. And when we are in that cycle, it is hard in the moment to get out of the cycle. Which is why we talk about, you may hear me say that our goal, we can't practice the tools in the middle of the situation. When we talk about the COPE model, clarify, observe, pause, and execute, the COPE model is effective when we are practicing in times when we are not in the situation. So that when we do get into the situation, then we've had some practice, some behavioral history, if you will, of using the process. So clarify, observe, pause, and execute. What's causing it? I know it's not hunger, right? So using Juyon as an example. I know I'm not hungry, but I'm going to eat. The question is, why am I eating? And it usually comes from one of those things: habits, emotions, access, and taste. The habits that we formed, where we just eat because that's what we do. We go to the movies, we eat because we eat at the movies. Somebody comes to visit us and we eat because we're socializing. Right? So there are those things that come. Everybody around us is getting up and going to lunch. We're full. We've already eaten. We may have brought something from home, but we eat because that's what we do. We eat because of emotions. Habits, emotions. We eat because of emotions. We get too tired, too frustrated, too whatever it is, and the emotions are so strong, and the hormonal milieu, if you would, the hormonal push that's coming from that is so strong that it drives us to eat. And when we eat, right, here's the kicker. And when we eat, we don't typically crave stuff that's non-carby. We crave carbs. As Julian is saying, sugar. And once we get the sugar in our system, the body has to respond by producing insulin. And once insulin comes out, then the cycle just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Because the insulin is going to make us hungry. It's going to make us crave things. And what do we crave? We crave sugar. So we eat more sugar, more insulin, more sugar, right? So this is the cycle that's going on. Habits, emotions, access. And so if we have an emotion that we are craving something and that thing is right there, access, guess what's going to happen? We're going to eat that thing. Even if you've decided, I'm not going to eat it, even if you told yourself, hey, this is what's going on, because it's around, the likelihood is that you're going to get some. And then taste. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. And the taste is a very intricate and complicated part of this, because the taste is not just about that food. And you may have heard me say that when we did our pop-up live today. We talked about the heat model. The taste is involving not just the fact that the food itself tastes good, because it's designed to help to make you taste it, or designed to taste good, right? The bliss point, the perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat. Where when food is made, because remember, think about who is making the food, right? And this is not demonizing, right, food, the food industry. This is what we do, right? If I have a business, what is my business? My business is to what? Get you to be a repeat customer. I'm not interested in you eating it one time. I'm interested in you eating it once and saying to yourself, oh my goodness, this is now my favorite chip, cookie, candy, cake, whatever it is. This is now my favorite, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to eat more, and I'm going to tell other people about it. That's the goal if you have a product. You want people to use the product. And so the design of the food is such that you can't just eat one. Okay, number one. So there's that. There's the fact that when you eat certain foods, they give you a burst of energy in the form of, you got it right, sugar. Because that's what the body uses for energy. I liken this to, those movies where they're doing drag racing or racing cars. And they're these cars are racing next to each other and going. One is going forward and coming back, and right, and then somebody reaches over and they hit that switch, and the car goes, right, because they got that big boost of whatever's in that gas tank. When you eat sugar, it doesn't matter where the sugar's coming from. When you eat sugar, you get a burst of energy, and it's like that tank, where the energy is, but just like that car, you get the burst of energy. And when the energy burns out, if you're going to keep going, guess what you've got to get more of? You got to get more energy. And what does that look like? That looks like eating, and I'm picking a cookie. That looks like eating a cookie, getting the burst of energy, and then the energy from the cookie wears off, and then you say, I got to get another cookie. Right? So there's the bliss point. There's the energy that comes from it. There is the emotion, tying back to the E in habits, emotions, access, and taste. There's the emotion that comes from the food, because you remember what mama's cookie tasted like. You remember the fact that daddy, when he traveled and he came home, he always brought you that candy. You remember that when you felt old enough, or you were grown enough, or you were responsible enough, and when you could buy your own stuff, you went and the first thing that you bought was that cake. Or you remember when you were growing up and everybody talked about the fact that you were large and you should cut back on your food and you should watch what you eat. And when you were by yourself and you were able to binge, you were able to eat something, you were able to get away from their view, you ate that ice cream. And now that ice cream is your favorite. Why? Because it brings back the memory of how you felt that time when you ate it, in that place with that person, by yourself, how you were protected, the warmth that it brings. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. So why do we eat the way we eat? There it is. And all of our eating, other than when it comes from our true need for energy, that is hunger, stems in one of those places, or is couched in one of those places. So that was a larger answer, Gian, to your question, but I wanted to make sure that I got through that so everyone understands that it is not that you just like that stuff. You may like it, but it also is doing something else in your body. Okay, awesome. All right, so let's see. Oh, and then we see, look back to the community. I see Steve out there. What's going on, Steve? And I jumped right down. It's difficult. Let's see. Let's go back up here. So thanks for sharing information from your restaurant, Kenti. And Steve is saying it's hard. Never seen it here. Korean barbecue. Ain't no Koreans in Alabama. It's just a wave of cultural explosions of popularity. Never seen it here. There are Korean restaurants in Huntsville there were at one time. Social media drives so much of people's taste and preferences. Yes, they do. Steve saying true. It's difficult for us to find anything to eat in restaurants because of our eating habits. Now that's a conversation we need to have at some point, and I've alluded to some of that for when we do our pop-ups, that we all need to have what we call our default food, right? So what's your default food? What's your default meal? Okay, so we'll have to come back and do that again. Let's see. Let's jump down. Yes, we try to stay in ketosis. From Steve. Kenti said, I'm international in how doctors' answers compare with mine. I'm interested in. Oh, let me go back. Let's see. I'm kind of reading through. Because it's all Olive Garden and other chains, no independent mom and pops, or because you're eating keto, it's much easier these days to find carb options. Yes, we try to stay in ketosis. I got sidetracked. LOL. I'm interested in how doctor compares. What particular question did you have there, Kenti? She has no hunger reasons for eating. Yes, habits and emotions are yeah. So okay. So basically, talking about the conversation we were just having. I just wanted to make sure that I had not missed something there. So the heat model is something that we personally in our lives have to continue evaluating. There are things even now that I am understanding about myself and how the heat model fits into my personal life and how I respond to different things when it comes to the heat model and how that affects my metabolism. Even as I'm fasting, if I'm not careful, that model, right, will predict my behavior, predict the thoughts that come. And if I'm not careful, if I've not put something in place, then I can easily be triggered and easily be pulled off of my path. Okay? Awesome. All right. So, y'all, you heard me say earlier, a little different conversation about what it is that we do. And not so much a different conversation, because we started talking about this months ago, when we were talking about playing your own game and finishing strong. And I advised everybody to let's not just make this a sterile process. Let's make it personal. What is your reason for what you're doing? Connect to that. That's your anchor. And then here, as we are learning, we're growing, we educate, right? So we're learning about how the body works. You can now make decisions that are aligned with who you say you want to be, right? Alignment. And then we put a structure in place that takes us there and keeps us anchored. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And I am always excited when I get to come hang out with you as we walk through this path together. For those of you who fasted with us yesterday and you ended your fast today, kudos to you. Congratulations to you. And let's see. Let me do one thing. I got a message, several messages, by the way, but someone says that they were new, so I want to just give a quick shout out and give a hand clap and some music. And this was someone who was through, let's see, someone commented on one of our videos and said they were new. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and be more intentional about writing that name down. But if you joined us and you are new, right, if you're new to us, new to this space, new to what we're doing, I welcome you. And I'm so excited that you are here with us. Let's see. And I'm trying to, okay, here it is. And it was from our pop-up earlier today. I want to make sure that okay, I said I found it, but it doesn't look like I did. Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to go back and I'll do that. So for all of you who are new to us, go ahead and I want to say welcome. And let me give a hand clap and some music. All right. Thank you for coming through, and thank you for hanging out, and thank you for being in this space with us. We continue our fast as we get through the rest of the week. We're coming back tomorrow as we do our pop-up at 48 hours. And then tomorrow we'll have our 56-hour check-in, just like we did tonight. For our community members, those of you in our accelerator program, make sure you join us tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Will be our community meetup for this month, 7 o'clock tomorrow, right here on, we'll send the link out in the community area. If you've not joined us yet, this is a great time to jump in so you can become a part of this process, become a part of this community. And we do some good things. We're supporting each other. We do the after the show meetup on Mondays. We've got the videos that we produce for additional insight into what's going on the channel and going on with the things that we're learning. So make sure you join us. If you've not done so yet, hey, this is the time to make sure that you are doing that. And we will do our full review of fasting on Friday as we talk about how to get into the fast, preparing, how to get through the fast, what's going on in your body, and then how to break the fast, how to end it so that you keep those benefits that you're getting at the end. Just a quick note, so we've had to make some adjustments for our Move campaign. We're going to go ahead and play that promo. We have to make some adjustments because of some personal things that are going on with me. So we've not ended that series, but we've just had to take a pause just for a little while. And if you saw our video, our episode earlier this week, then you understand what's going on there. So we are still there. What I want you to do, if you're following us with the Move campaign, go on back and watch some of those earlier episodes, and we may do some repurposing of that to bring that to you in a different way. But make sure that you are continuing to do the things that you need to do for your health. Metabolic optimization via exercise is an integral part of our 7-pillar health action plan. So make sure that you are make sure you're staying there so that you can get the benefits. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at that move promo right now, and then we will be out of here. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. I want you to have the same successes in your health like you're having in your other aspects of your life, because I want you to be around for those important events in your life and for the important people that are part of your circle. All right. Have a good one, everyone. Have a great evening. We'll see you in the community, and we'll see you for our check-in tomorrow. And for the community members, we'll see you at our meetup. Here we go. Welcome to Move, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is Move. Let's get started.